This is Kathy Chase. I've been doing a little research and trying to figure out some things going on around me. And evidently I just got my answer. As I said, my oldest daughter, Shannon and Kim, has been initiating to sleep with other people. And one of these other people evidently was Chase Spicer, somebody I had slept with, to try to get her worked against her mother. Amber's a minor. She's 17 years old. Nick Hexum, Chase Spicer, they're all older. And what I was trying to figure out was they had put pacemakers. I believe they put a pacemaker in Chase. They wanted to use the whole Herbie the Love Bug thing was part of their plan, and the baby book and all this other stuff. What I was trying to figure out was if they had tricked him into having sex with my daughter, being underage, or if he had done that to try to get in between me and my daughter, or what had happened. If he had any remorse over that. I thought at one point he did, but I guess I'm wrong. What I thought that was put in place for today was because I thought they did that to get between me and my daughter, for one, and to derive from the fact that they had put a pacemaker in him, in him too, as part of their initial plans. Well, evidently, he's going along with what they're doing, and evidently he did it to try to get between me and my daughter, for one. For two, he did it, probably could be for financial gain. Somebody's trying to pay him off from solicit money because of what they did to my sole of my foot. And they've been trying to solicit my life, and they're not stopping, evidently. And what he's too stupid to realize is that he hangs out with the same stupid people that did what they did to me, did what they did to him, but he still hangs out with them. There's something quite wrong with him. I can't quite figure it out. He does all kinds of drugs. He friggin', you know, I tried to be his friend, and, to figure out where his integrity was at, if he had any at all, or if he had any remorse over certain things, which he obviously is showing me that he doesn't have remorse or doesn't care about doing things to hurt other people and their families. And he's caused friction between me and my daughter. Shannon and Kim continually contribute to try to instigate bad things between me and my children. And you know, it's sad that you know, certain people don't want to would rather be with the cool crowd than see that they've screwed them over right in front of their face. Like my daughter, they did the pit surgery on her, and they've used the chips that they put in her pits to brainwash her against her mother, and you know, same thing goes for other people. But whatever. That's all I have to say about other people. I'm concerned about my kids first and foremost. I do not condone older men sleeping with my 17-year-old daughter, whether that means rock stars or other people, to try to create friction with their little pits process that they don't want me to have any allies, and that's fine. Chase Spicer, that's fine. You can go to hell or whatever, you know, because I protected you. Your family, Chase, knows what I've done for you. They know all the things, all the times I've looked out for you and tried to work with you, and I try to figure out where your soul's at and where your integrity happens to be, because I don't know what you're doing. There's nothing legal about what they've done to my life, and I don't appreciate other families getting involved in other people. This message goes to the Wade Spicer's on my Facebook, and he'll probably read it, and his mother's on there somewhere, but she's not on my Facebook. But no, this message is to you. Your son's got some issues. He's huffing on cans. He's got major drug and alcohol issues, and he's got gambling issues, and it directs from these same people, the 12s, and he associates with his own enemies. But I can't get through to him. I've tried to work with him, and I don't condone his behavior elsewhere. I don't condone it at all. And I've tried to see where he stood today with his statements to me. I see that he wants to make a mistake, because all the things I've tried to do for him, regardless, and the same goes for my mother. I uncovered their plot to put a pacemaker in my mother, and I haven't gotten any help. These people can't uphold contracts on my life, and they can't manipulate some sort of colored scenario with buses and Rosa Parks to try to get me killed with their little colors. I'm sure there's other people that they've victimized, but let's see. Yeah, I'm sure they've told people that, I'm sure they probably had somebody lie to Chase Spicer and say that there's not a pacemaker in him when I know that there is. They'll do things like that. But, they've got him huffing cans and doing all this other stuff. So, I don't know. I give up on Chase Spicer. He's, whatever. He's messed up big time. And he needs some serious help. Because you don't get in between families like that. I don't want Chase Spicer talking to Amber, my daughter, Amber Chase. Chase Spicer's phone number, if people want to trace the number, see if there's any connection between 402-770-2053 and my daughter's number, 402-499-8666. My daughter's 17 years old. And these people who tried to kill her at one time in the 8th grade, when she was walking home from school, and then they tried to use the Amber song, she's hanging out with them. Then they've used the Deborah Winger movie in armpit surgeries, because Bob Carey and Deborah Winger dated at one time and went to First Plymouth Church. Terms of endearment? What these people are doing is outrageous. And everybody has seen the Amber had armpit surgery. Amber had armpit surgery. These people are so sideways. She had armpit surgery because they had used RFID controls to make her have sweat problems. And they had this PITS process all planned. And, fire pits, pits of hell, fruit pits, and racing pits, and Rob's garage stall, and Joseph Stalin was a Who was Joseph Stalin? I'm not Joseph Stalin. My name's not Joe, as in a boy name. It was named after another girl. That's not where the Joe comes from. It's Kathy, space, Joe. I'm not a foreigner, okay? And, I just don't know why people can't figure out. I guess they're soliciting now. They're soliciting Chase Spicer into trying to hurt me. But you know, the sad thing about it is that if people in my family and other people wanted to help me, I could probably get more money and the legal way than these people trying to solicit my life the illegal way, which is what's dumb about it. And that message goes to the Spicer family. That message goes to my family, and what they're doing is illegal. They can't be doing what they're doing. There's no such thing as a contract. There's no such thing as a contract, and that's why we're not in court. And I asked for people to stop this scenario, and I have not done anything wrong. I have not killed anybody. I have not premeditated any scenario. And the fire manipulation was 20 years ago. And so I'm not responsible for what's happened to me in my life. And this whole thing of people manipulating, and ganging up in Pitt's process, frankly, they're playing the bluffs game, the blind man's bluff game. They're playing different games with my life. If you look up on Wikipedia, they're playing different games with my life and using old movies and music on my life, which is all illegal. You can't abuse me with the entertainment industry because the entertainment industry has made money indirectly and directly from my life. I don't appreciate that. And, I guess that's why they think that's what they need to do. When, as I said, The Wall was written when I was 6 years old. My foot incident had never happened yet. And The Wall is a basic story about people in general. It's not about me. It's about a rock star that shaves his eyebrows. Well, my mom has no eyebrows. She pencils them on. And I believe the person at the controller represents George W. Bush, but I could be wrong. Or somebody else. Who does it represent? I don't know. It represents somebody, and it represents government, dictators, and people who with communistic ideas. And there are laws in this country in which none of this stuff is legal. And so I said, since what you're doing is illegal, you don't want to go to court on the real issue. You can't kill me. You can't divert and try to kill me in a divorce court or at a social court that you set up. You can't have other people make claims about me to manipulate family or my life to try to get me killed. I don't kill people, and they need to drop it. The Lassons, from what I hear, they're the big part of the problem. And then I hear Shannon's a big part of the problem. And then I hear Richard Chase is obsessed with getting me killed. There's got to be an answer somewhere. And who's trying to do what? And you're wasting time and you're wasting money. Why not go? They can't go to the court on the truth because they don't want to commit perjury, and they don't want to get in trouble for all this other corruption stuff. So I say, if you don't want to go to court on the real issue instead of diverting to try to get me killed illegally, then why don't you just stop your process? That's your only option, is to stop. And if you can't stop, then, work and be negotiable and be civilized people, be civilized, lawful people according to the laws. Now that you've done your little build your wall thing and using my life, which I don't really appreciate, is all it is playing $25,000 pyramid. That's all this consists of, and it's stupid. Using the law you think you can't use the law you can't use the way people solve crimes to premeditate and to carry out a crime. You can't do that in this country. So since there's all these liabilities, and mostly they fall back on government and the people that have done things to my life and my body and my children's bodies, and it all, technically falls back on government, I say, well, why don't they just stop? Why don't they just stop? Everybody knows about all the corruption and stuff. Well, why don't they just stop? They could just stop. Simple. They could be civilized, rationalized people and go about things the lawful way instead of keep manipulating. They keep manipulating. They keep manipulating. And they're still doing that as of today because I know that's what they're doing. It's so simple. It's so simple. People can stop what they're doing instead of trying to manipulate and manipulate and manipulate, And that's why we're not in court, because this whole scenario of getting people to stab me in the back when I've done nothing wrong. They think that has something to do with shoulder blades and pacemakers and bra straps and Hitler straps. I mean, they're crazy. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't killed anybody. I am not. You cannot prosecute me in a frickin' divorce court or an apartment building because I was killed my cat Bobo died in the fire, and it was probably, I'm sure, arson. Part of the manipulation on my foot, and there's no such thing as a contract killing because that's not something you can do. So what I'm saying is you should just be reasonable and rational and give up on trying to hurt me, and and go with the laws of the country. There's no such thing as having a competition to kill each other, or coercion is not even legal, and because of all the corruption. That's why all this stuff is taking place. You got coercion, and I've been abused because of corruption, and the government can't sit back and let me be abused because all this corruption to begin with. They got to make them stop. They got to either make them stop, or they got to prosecute them. That's the way things have to be. It's either they got to stop what they're doing, or they've got to prosecute these other people, because I'm not responsible for what's happened to me in my life. So I just, this is disturbing for the public. Everybody's tired of it. They know about the corruption. They know about, they don't see the media around. They don't see us in actual real court, and they see what you're done with this colored thing and colored buses, and Rosa Parks Way is right next to the courthouse, and Rosa Breyer was the entrance to the old Cheney Place apartment fire, and Clare Avenue, number 6 gas station, or fire station, and then Phillips 66 gas station, and then the 226 in Old Cheney, Nebraska. Now, this is stupid. It's either you've got to quit doing what you're doing, initiating problems, or technically they would have to prosecute you. That's how the laws work in this country. And I'm a real person with a real name, and people really see me walking around every day, So, you know, I'm not on trial for murder. I don't have any intentions to kill anybody. And, it doesn't matter what you slander me with or say about my character when I have good character. You know, you can't have people messing with my computers to say that I'm bad. You can't have, you know, you can't look for ways to hurt me more because of your corruption that started to begin with. This is not, don't, you're treading on my life with things that you have caused and problems you have created. And I shouldn't have to pay for that with my life, and neither should my kids, because government agencies have not taken action or they have not made them stop. It's simple. You stop. We know the corruption's huge. We know the pyramid's huge. We know that the profits have been huge. We know about that, okay? No, but you know, if you're going to antagonize me in a mafia type of way, because that's what you're doing, and you're not going to stop, then they have to stop you. Because everybody can clearly see this. There's no media around. Everybody knows this is going on, worldwide even. It's a disgrace to America that nobody's gotten any, you know, that there hasn't been a, you know, a civil negotiable action. I didn't even know about this. People started harassing me and abusing me before I even knew what was going on. I had no idea what their intentions were unto me. This wall game or you know, about things in my body. I didn't even know about them until I'd already had all this fame that I didn't want. And they won't even let me have the media around because they're too corrupt. And because they don't want the media around so that they can invent more lies and create more manipulations and manipulate other people. They continue this cycle of manipulating one person to the next, telling people different stories and so forth. And, you know, your whole sideways with souls, you know, souls of shoes, souls of bodies, and trying to solicit my life. You know, I don't frickin' think so. All I say is people just need to stop their game. This seems pretty simple because, you know, there is GameStops all over the place, and you have 32-bit games and high streets on 3200 block, and I'm not your game, okay? I didn't give permission to be some sort of death game or death match or whatever you're trying to do, because there's no good in what's happened here. There's nothing good about it. There's no value to this. You don't desecrate someone's life because you have greed and ego and want or power hungry or whatever the case may be. Okay? And I'm not responsible, and it's either people have got to stop and get some rational, get responsible. Even if you haven't been in the past, I think it's time that you learned how. And if you can't do that, then they need to intercept. Not me, but they need to intercept what you're doing and stop what you're doing and prevent something from happening here, because these people make attempts to look for ways to manipulate hurting me every day. And there's no reason to manipulate hurting someone in their life. That's not how the laws work. You don't look for different excuses and reasons to try to hurt somebody. I don't know what country is going on here, what country laws these people are following. Because this is not the laws of the United States of America. And I've been rational. I've tried to negotiate. I didn't know what was going on. I'm the one who has done all the suffering here. You know, but I'm the one that's trying to reason with people who don't want to be rational. And I'm thinking, well, this is pretty simple. It only takes a few words you know, and they can't use liabilities as an excuse to try to kill me. Oh, there's all these liabilities and manipulations, so we gotta kill you. No, that's not how things work. I haven't killed anybody. I have not killed anybody. I have no plans to kill anybody. My name is Kathy Chase. I live in the Midwest, not the Mid-East. My name's Kathy Jo Carolyn Chase. Main name Eggers, Eggers. And I'm insulted by the foot thing and how it's been manipulated, and my name's been manipulated to make me look like I'm a foreigner. From the, I don't know what kind of name they were trying to come up with by putting Kathy Jo together to look like Kathy Jo, something foreign, like Asian or something. No, that would be other people have Asian names. I don't have Asian names, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Asian people. I'm just saying they're trying to manipulate my my real American civilian status, born here in America, to try to say that I don't have rights. I don't think you can do that either. I think there's some sort of weird thing going on here. I think with the president, because I know George W. Bush was born here, obviously, but I don't know about the current president. So they're like playing green card with my life. But I'm the real one who was born here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And there's no way that you can say that I'm not. Barack Obama is a foreign name. That's not a basic name. That's a foreign name. And his middle name's Hussein? Give me a break. I'm not a foreigner. I have, my family derives from Europe, but they came up to the United States a couple hundred years ago. And so I'm not really sure what these people are doing, but I'm saying to the government agencies, I'm saying you need to make these people stop what they're doing, because everybody knows of the corruption and all the bad things. And I just say, make them stop, or or prosecute these people. That's pretty much, I think that's pretty fair. I don't kill people. All I want is to live a normal life just like everybody else, and I don't know who they thought they were to say that they were going to take mine and do whatever they wanted with it and then kill me for it. I mean, really, seriously, I'm not some sort of weird cult, religious, sacrificial lamb for whatever their religion preferences might be, or whatever, or cult, social cult. It's either a religious ideas or social cult, because I'm not Jesus, when we all know that, and I'm not here for certain people to abuse me because they have mental problems. Okay, because that's what's going on here. People want to make me the one to abuse because they have mental problems. There's no such thing as having someone designated to abuse because you needed to have some fabricated Jesus for profit, to try to make money or to kill them. If Jesus came back down to earth, or came to earth, or whatever, came back, then Jesus, people wouldn't abuse Jesus intentionally and try to kill him. And if they say there's something medically wrong with me, they certainly would not abuse me in such ways, in such forms, with such claims. So they give themselves away that way too. I mean, what I'm saying is, just stop your game. Say enough's enough. You can't even publicly talk about it. Neither president can, because they know I'm right. George Bush can't make a statement about it. Barack Obama can't make a clear, direct statement about it because there's too many legalities. All I'm saying is this needs to stop, and if it doesn't stop, I want the agencies to please step in and do something, please. Please, for the sake of me and my children. I'm tired of living every second of my day in fear and worrying about my children. I'm tired of the manipulations here locally in Lincoln, Nebraska, and people with pretty much, you know, they want to sell their souls too. I don't know what this is with people wanting to sell their souls, but they can't have my soul. My soul is not for sale because they've lost theirs, okay? Maybe that's what they're trying to get back because they've sold their souls. And they can't get theirs back by that way. You can't get by trying to hurt people. You can't do that. You gotta do what's right and try to help people. There was no reason for them to come along and want to just try to hurt me before and I didn't even know what was going on, and it's not my fault. How can that be my fault? Everybody thinks there's something really wrong, nationwide and worldwide, when you want to make these claims about there being something wrong with me, but you won't provide media. You don't want to help me, and all you look for ways to hurt me? That doesn't make sense. That's not my fault. You brought me the fame because you didn't help me or prevent this. So I'm saying just stop so I can figure out how to get to a normal life. My life was not yours to take into your hands and to disperse of how you please because of ego and power and arrogancy or whatever. So I'm not Lego your ego. I'm not Lego building blocks. I'm not Humpty Dumpty and Wall Street. Yeah. So, you know, all I've asked people to do is stop. And it's still continuing day after day after day. I'm tired of it. I wish, you know, I think it's time for, if the CIA is not here in Lincoln, Nebraska, or if the FBI is not going to wake up here, because there's only like one FBI person in this office and he's related to all these people. If people aren't going to get responsible and rational, even if they haven't in the past, if they're not going to rethink the things to learn to be nice, and then I think they should be prosecuted. Obviously. I didn't want to play your impeachment game because you're not really wanting to do your job and don't care about human rights or whatever. I'm not going to play, you know, there's a song called From Letters to Cleo about treason, and that was written before I was even on the internet. And let's see, that was in, I think 2002. I think that was out before that. And it's like, nope, you must have it turned around. Because I'm not the one who needs a green card. And, everybody sees my social security cards and birth certificate online. I don't have the numbers displayed, but those numbers mean nothing other than they're issued as we are born in order. If you were born, say if your number starts at 502 and your neighbor starts at 503, that means they were born after you because it goes in order. Stupid stuff. You know, social security numbers don't mean anything. There's no such thing. Federal government and CIA doesn't ship people off for death at a certain age. They don't do that. They don't do that. Don't try to make it look like they do that, because they don't do that. Okay? You gotta scare the heck out of the citizens of the United States of America. They're already scared because nobody's being rational and reasonable, and it only takes a little bit of time to be rational. And it's obvious I would rather negotiate anything other than being cornered to death illegally with some sort of diversion game, which is totally illegal. I've just said, you know, if they can't go to court with the real issues, then you gotta shut up. And you gotta get reasonable and rational. And I don't care what these people have been caught in doing during the process. That's something they did, not me. That's not something I did. It's something they did. They did it, and it's not my fault. I'm not going to pay for the consequences of their built-up levels of corruption. Okay, I think that stuff needs to stop. You know, obviously, when it affects people's lives, you know, to such a degree without, you know, saying enough's enough, and I say I'm negotiable, then what's the problem? You're sending the message that you're just trying to commit murder in the first degree. If you're not willing to stop, and if you're not willing to be rational, then that's the message you're sending. You're trying to kill me in the first degree, which you can't do. Because I have not killed anybody. I do not conduct terroristic activity. I don't hypnotize people. I am not a soldier, and I was not drafted into some war because other people wanted to play a game with my life. I find that repulsive. For people to maliciously manipulate the government agency facts and histories, and then the Constitution, how that's been manipulated, and the important things of our nation has been stomped on by these people, and I find that a disgrace. And this is just how I feel, you know, and this is the true law. The true law is that you've got to stop what you're doing. Okay, we've already established we've got huge levels of corruption, and I say, okay, but if you don't want to stop antagonizing and not wanting to forget about, if you don't want to work with people, then they're not going to accept you. They're not going to accept that fact that you don't want to be civilized, because it's what the United States is all about. Being civil and rational, and going under the laws of this country. And Lincoln, Nebraska is no exception to the law, and I am not an exception to the law. You cannot manipulate paperwork or any other means to manipulate my life, because I'm trying to work with you, you're not. And I want this to stop. I'm not your Watergate, okay? You're your own Watergate, or whatever, okay? Water under the bridge. I'm not your water under the bridge, and I'm not the president. But, well, I think I'd be a good one if I was the president. So, anyways, this is Kathy Chase, and I want to see some responsibility and some rationality and some accountability. If things aren't going to stop, if they're not going to stop, then make them be accountable for it, or make them, you know, start proceedings, because all they have to do is stop. Simple. And say, they don't even have to say anything. All they have to do is stop. They stop harassing me, let me go, help me find a way to get some medical help without feeling endangered, and so forth. Simple stuff. I shouldn't be afraid to go to the hospital in my own country, in which I was born in. And I'm appalled with the foot thing, and how it's being and all this other stuff. G.I. Joe? I'm not G.I. Joe. And it's sad. I'm not a toy, okay? My life is not your toy. And that's how you perceive me, as being your toy. But I'm not owned. You can't forge documents. You can't stage some sort of wedding to frickin' try to say you own my life. What is wrong with you? That's not legal in the United States of America. You're insane to think that you can do that. Everybody thinks you're insane. Everybody in the country thinks you're insane because Rob and Kim and Shannon wanted to get married or whatever. have some sort of polygamy thing going on or whatever, because they're into polygamy, these people in the state of Nebraska. We don't live in Utah, and this isn't Salt Lake City. And throwing salt over your shoulder is supposed to be good luck, by the way, from what I read, but I don't really care because I'm not... Chase Spicer's already proven to me who he is, and I don't like what I see. So, anyways, I just, you know, people are, this corruption and wanting to hurt people. Where's the sense and rationality with that? I don't hurt people. And, I don't appreciate people trying to solicit my life, because I know that's been going on. When, if these people had any soul or integrity, they would realize and be smart enough to know if they were to help me, then I could be entitled to money, and they could get, money through me to help me. Seriously. Duh, that's common sense. Look at how many laws they're trying to break. And I've invited lawyers to help me here, because lawyers like money. And so I have one lawyer in town. I don't know that he's interested. He's on my other social services case, and I was going to hire him for divorce if I got divorced. And and I tried hiring Shapiro a while back, but evidently he didn't want to help me, I guess. I don't know. So this is Kathy Chase. I'm just saying, stop. And if somebody can't get these people to stop, then do something. Somebody needs to do something. And I need lawyers. Please.